Hey, what is up guys? Guitar here. Welcome back to another Brave Knight video. Alright, so today we're gonna talk about both Audrey, Siegmund's companion, and Rilke. I don't know how to pronounce Venaka's companion. I think that's how you say it. Okay, we're gonna talk about both of them. I will give you my thoughts, analysis, etc. For those of you who did not join my earlier stream. Alright, I actually tested both of them individually. And yes, I can say that they are both really solid option if you're looking for like a new unit to build right now in the current meta. So for those of you who are not aware, there's currently this lucky random reveal thing going on as well. I need more of those. Alright, let's jump into it. Okay, let's talk about Sigmund first, because I think Sigmund being a warrior is going to entice more players in my opinion, even though right now we have this like mage meta going on with COR and strong defenders etc. Now what is Sigmund capable of? Alright, so at +0 we're just gonna have a look at his base skills. First things first, alright, if you look at this, they basically change how he works. So let me see if I can get this max. Okay, so he has about 1.2k attack, crit rate 10%, crit damage 50%, 5.2k HP, 10% defense, but don't be deceived by his stats. Alright, the stats can be quite deceiving. Even though he's a bit low, he's actually really strong. So he has this skill called the Protective Crest. Alright, so trying to understand this is a bit complicated because it basically needs to activate. Alright, you consume one Protective Crest upon receiving enemy's normal attack and receive Divine Protection effect when consuming Protective Crest. Now you can see there's a couple of things going on right here in this particular battle. So this will activate for the first 100 turns. So what this means, that Sigmund, when he gets hit by any enemy, he will have Protective Crest. Okay, so he needs to get an enemy to hit him specifically, and Protective Crest is added after normal attack 25 turns when battle begins. So Divine Protection, so during that 2 turn, okay, once enemy hits him 2 turns, he does not receive any damage and immune to debuff skill type. Alright, so hopefully we are clear with that. So he has a guard type skill, ideally, and this is really strong, especially when you go into late game. So for example, if Sigmund is the one last man standing, an enemy might have like 2 defenders or 2 warriors. So Sigmund ideally will be able to solo the enemy, right? So this is something to keep in mind. Second skill is gonna be straightforward. Alright, they modify how his kit works entirely. He now deals fixed damage, alright? Current HP times 75% additional damage. So you can see his current HP, not max HP, times the amount of damage. And then going into the third skill, now we have 100% minus defense before battle times 25% defense boost. So looking at this skill, you might be confused, like what is this, right? So this means that you cannot use shield runes on Sigmund. So let's say you have 30% shield rune and then you give him 2 of those. Each of it gives 30%, so you have 60%. So 100% minus 60%, so you get 40 times 25%. So you don't want to put shield runes on him. Make sure he doesn't get any defense at all. Don't put shield runes on him. Don't put a defense substat on his runes. So make sure that Sigmund, from what I gather, the best runes for him right now is Vital because of his second ability, which is this one. Alright. Third skill gives Sigmund reduced incoming damage. Alright, very high, and also max HP every turn healing. So as you can see, Sigmund is really OP, right? If you look at his skills. Obviously, this skill goes up further. You unlock this skill at +3, right? So going on into +6, now you can see he gets an upgrade on this skill, right? So this time is 35 turns, 2 turns. So the previous one was 25 turns. And then going on to +9, okay, so you get this 3 turns. So you have a 3-turn guard that you will not receive any damage. Keep in mind. So Sigmund still dies to Alec, direct damage ignores guard. So Vals and Livia will be able to get rid of Sigmund if Sigmund is the main target. So if you're looking to build Sigmund, alright, he does get a big spike at +10, okay, with this range. Of course, if you go to +12, well, the multiplier for this will be higher. I'm not sure how good is this. Having more defense is not crucial in the current meta. Okay, so at plus 15, Sigmund gets a huge jump because this protective crest, remember that I mentioned earlier, your Sigmund needs to get hit, right? In order to have this protection, this guard 3 turns thing. But if you look right here, it says one protective crest is added when the battle begins. So basically you will have this at you in the beginning of battle, which is pretty good. So ideally, I don't know, in the current meta, I would say Sigmund can be quite strong. He's definitely very good. His damage is quite high as well. If you are willing to, you know, max rank boost your Sigmund, put strong vital runes on him, he can easily deal like 30,000 to 40,000 damage on his own without buffs, which is crazy. He doesn't need buffs, to be honest. He really doesn't. So it's all based on his HP. His damage is really high. He's like a hybrid of Angelica and Adin, but he's better. So I don't think there's any reason for you to be building either Angelica or Adin in the current meta. Sigmund is the best warrior that you can build right now. Period. For 5-star, alright? I just want to keep in mind for 5-star. In terms of comparing Sigmund with the staple right now, which is Alec and Vals, it's a bit more complicated. I feel like, you know, Alec and Vals, they still have their place, okay? They are really strong. Direct damage is still a thing for sure with, you know, all those Tal range, etc. But if you're talking about Sigmund as a 5-star, I feel like his power level is pretty comparable. So if you're looking at all these warrior lists, you're thinking of you want to build a warrior, I would say Sigmund. He's the best option right now for 5-star warriors. Alright, let's talk about supporter. Okay, so Venaka is modified pretty heavily. I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of that because they did change her Tal and how it actually works. Alright, her first skill is still the same, okay? It's like, I'm pretty sure this is like similar with before. The only thing that they changed is her Tal range, okay? Right now it's like very front. But in terms of this skill, everything is the same. A cheer infliction when the ally dies, and also her buffs cannot be removed. Can't be removed with removal skill type. Now her second, third and fourth skill now is a little bit different. So now she has heal before battle. This will only affect herself. Alright, it doesn't affect anyone else. It's herself. Incoming damage 35% and increase the maximum incoming damage reduction to 90% at plus something. I think at plus 15? 90%? Yeah. So yeah, this is a lot of reduction, okay? So it even says here, damage received by DOT or shock is not healed. These two effects still counter her. And this is what makes her really strong right now. Alright, so she has this skill called the Permanent Dance of Battlefield Aura. So this is an aura skill. Keep in mind, this will affect only ally warriors. Dance of Battlefield effect terminates when Venaka dies. Cannot receive buff skill type except immunity and purification effect. Alright, keep that in mind. So Venaka cannot receive any buffs. So some people say, okay, why not give Venaka 100% defense or whatever? She can't. You can't buff her with Julie, you can't buff her with Albion, you just can't. Period. Except for immunity and purification. Alright, keep that in mind. So what this Dance of Battlefield Aura is doing is basically she will convert part of her incoming damage which Venaka receives through Dance of Sacrifice. So converts 99% of incoming damage into Dance of Sacrifice, and also, okay, when ally takes damage, so she will receive additional damage converted by Dance of Battlefield. Alright, so there's two things right here, Dance of Battlefield here, and this one right here. So basically she's sharing damage, for those of you who are not aware, and the amount of damage times 30% additional damage. So obviously once you go to plus 3, they are reducing the multiplier here. Oh, it's just a turn, 18 turns. So from 14 to 18. But at plus 4, you can see 25. At plus 5, 20%. It gets less and less. But yeah, plus 5 is only up to the maximum that she gets for this skill. Now going higher, at plus 9 you can see 35, 85, 40, right? Plus 12, this will increase to 50, you know, so on and so forth. And plus 50, 90%, so that she survives longer. So overall, her buff is pretty good. It gives a lot of attack and crit damage. Unfortunately, she does not give crit rate, which might be a big issue, but in the current staple meta, if you look at the warriors, if we are talking about Alec and Vals, I guess they could benefit from crit for sure, but they don't really need them that much compared to attack, since they both deal direct damage, so that's going to be their main source of damage. Sigmund on the other hand do not really need buffs. So yeah, this is going to be really interesting. Obviously, she's supposed to pair with someone else that gives a bunch of crit rate, right? But I would say Venaka is really strong, and I did test her in earlier stream. I will post that video later on. But if you are looking to build Venaka, she is a solid option for sure. She is really strong. It's gonna take a while though. I don't think she's gonna jump high in the rankings that fast. I'm gonna say she will take a while, similar to CLR. It took CLR about 2 to 3 months before she becomes a staple meta. So I think the same is gonna happen with Venaka as well, because right now there's just not enough warriors in the meta. So we are now focusing surrounding the magicians more. Alright, so if you are deciding if you want to build for either Venaka or Sigmund, they are both really awesome and solid choices. Now again, Sigmund is gonna be hard to fit if you already have either Alec or Vals, because like for me right now, I'm using CLR, right? So if you use CLR like me, okay, you might have 4 magicians. So right now you can see I have CLR and then I have 4 magicians. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 shard right here and 3 magicians here. And then I have 2 defenders, right? In this case, I'm using 1 Thorn, Seer, and 1 Mamone. And then I have Asmund. And then I have 1 warrior, which is Vals. So if I build Sigmund, I could either replace Vals or I could replace Asmund. But in my opinion, these 2 are really solid right now. I don't see any issue with them at all. But for those of you who are struggling, you don't have a good warrior currently, you can consider Sigmund as an option. It's just a tough time for him competing in the CLR meta because players are choosing between Alec and Vals, and now there's Sigmund. He could also be an option for sure, but yeah, you just can't bring much warriors unless you are willing to sacrifice not using CLR and go back to that Refi route if you want to. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of both Sigmund and Venaka. In my opinion, they are both really strong, they are really solid, and I do think that they are worth building. As always, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day. Goodbye.